What is in these pages? Is it an illicit substance?
They're like, oh no, the shame, and they're like sharp and glitter everywhere.
Can't tell these girls apart. Oh, well, that is a jump scare. Wow. Yeah, clearly I was not planning to film, hence the greasiest skincare you can imagine, and let's not even discuss the hair. Was not planning to be on camera today, but had to pop on. Surprise, it's a reading vlog. And I'm reading a little thing called the Zodiac Academy, specifically the first book, The Awakening. You've heard of this? Scarlett Peckham? Suzanne Valenti? Maybe you've heard of her. She's very underrated, very underhyped. Yeah, I think I've even stated in a TBR Smasher Pass, was not interested in reading this. And I'll be honest, I got a little judgy about it. Thought I was better than this series. I'm not. I'm a pedestrian bitch. I'm gonna have to bleep that. That is way too early to be cursing. So here we are. Some certain things happened recently and it put me in distress. Some recent news, some recent events. And I was like, what if I just escaped into this totally ridiculous world? What if I just turned that brain off? What if I just emptied her out for a second? So what's this book about for the 2 people that maybe don't know what it is? Basically, we have twin sisters, Darcy and something else. Doesn't really matter. They're basically the same person. One of them just has some blue hair. But other than that, they're pretty much the same. So yeah, so they have been living in the human realm. And their parents died, so they've been living in the foster care system, but they recently turned 18, so they got kicked out. So they're just like trying to survive. So they are stealing, they're thieving, and it turns out they got a little sloppy and they got caught by who they think is a cop, but it turns out not a cop. It's someone that is there to let them know that there is a fae realm, and actually they are fae. And the people that they thought were their parents are not their parents. Their parents were like a fae king and queen, and they switched them at birth. And now, Princess Diary style, they need to come back and rule the kingdom, kind of. But not really. Really, the appeal for them is that there's a large inheritance at stake. All they have to do is go to school. So it's kind of like Harry Potter. Fuck J.K. Rowling, but kind of like Harry Potter, but make it fake. So they're like, sick. There's money involved. We're going to have food and shelter. This sounds amazing. But then they get there and they realize that there's heirs that have been kind of like voted in to like rule instead of them since they haven't been around. And they're not pleased. They like the power that they have. Also, these guys don't know anything about their world. It's like kind of classic fae in that the fae are assholes. They're beautiful assholes. Like, not even the teachers want them there. Like, the teachers are like, why don't you know this? And they're like, literally, how are we supposed to know? We've never been here before. And they're like, you're still dumb. So they get there and the bullying just starts immediately from the heirs, especially because they like the power. They would like to keep it. The girls that are attached to them, oh my God, gold digging bimbos. There's zero girl code here. They hate them. But they also do have like a weirdo fan club that's like, ooh, the rightful heirs are back. It's them trying to fit into their houses, like learn about this realm, and everyone's like threatened by their power. So that's kind of the gist of it. I'll be honest, I don't understand why I'm enjoying this. Because like when I think about it, I'm like, the magic system doesn't totally make sense to me because there's zodiac signs. So they have those. The girls are Geminis because they're twins. And I don't know actually how their zodiac sign comes into play yet. I'm just realizing that now. They also have like elemental powers, but that doesn't seem to be tied to their zodiac sign because they had to be tested. And these girls have all 4. They have got all of them. That's very rare. Most people have 1, maybe 2. If they're like real crazy. But then they have to pick a house based on that. But then also, on top of all this, apparently everyone can like shapeshift or something because they have to replenish their power somehow. And so then like all of these different orders do it differently. So there's like Pegasus and Hydras and werewolves and, well, I guess it's not werewolves. I guess it would just be wolf shifters because they can do it at will, not with the moon. I do not fully get it. And yet I'm having such a fun time. There's even really corny elements, like the girl hate is like pretty intense. It's a lot. It's giving 2000s. Also, there's something stupid called Facebook. That's corny-ish. There's also one person that's using Spanglish in here, comes across like your friend that went to somewhere in Europe and then now that culture and that language is their entire personality to the point that they just like casually keep slipping words in. That's how it feels. It feels really corny. Why am I having such a good time? I mean, everyone's being horrible to them. Horrible. It's every scene they're getting bullied. They're opening Facebook and getting bullied there. They are getting bullied as a part of their like entrance into their houses. They are getting bullied by teachers. There's teachers that are using them as a power source because they're just like, fuck it. We're like, everyone's out for themselves. What is happening? Why do I like this so much? What is in these pages? Is it an illicit substance? comment below and let me know, because I have no other explanation for why I like this. I should not be liking this. And now I get why my friend was begging me to read this. See, this is one of those books where it's like, objectively, we're talking about the quality of the writing, the quality of the magic system. It's probably like, shouldn't be rated that high. My enjoyment disagrees. Let's see where this takes us, shall we? I'm going to continue reading. I don't even know what this video is at this point. I'm just trying to process some feelings. But I'm gonna get 50% in and update you again because I can't figure it out. Anyway, chat soon. Ooh, this skincare is really highlighting that beautiful forehead breakout I got going on. Hi, so it's the same day, clearly. She's looking gorgeous as ever. I haven't changed a thing. Okay, so I'm now like just shy of 50% in, but here's my theory about why maybe I like this. Okay, it's fast paced. I have noticed that I'm having a really hard time because I'm having attention issues while I'm reading lately. I am very easily distracted the second something gets talked about in a book. I start Googling random stuff, and then somehow I remember something that happened in high school, and I'm like, I wonder how that person's doing. I can't focus while I'm reading. This is very fast paced, so it's like holding my attention. Something's constantly happening. And it's like, kind of feels high stakes because it's constantly like, are they going to kill these girls? Or what's around this corner, because we're learning something new about the world just constantly having threats against them. However, I think when I was talking with one of my friends, he was like, I really like the books because they're pretty formulaic. It's a new story, but it's a mashup of a bunch of shit you already like. And I was like, I think that's part of it. I also think, however, there is something kind of reassuring, although the bullying is like so intense. For at least this first half that I've read, I talked with Cynthia because like her and I caved at around the same time. And she was saying that kind of dissipates around like the 50% mark. It kind of like lets up a little bit. I think because you already know at some point, they're going to be the big dogs on campus. They are going to get back at all these people. At some point, they will be on top. It's just a matter of seeing the journey to get there. It's kind of like watching superhero movies, right? Or reading any romance. You know roughly what the end goal is. You don't necessarily know how they're going to get there. There's comfort knowing that you're following the people that are going to win. Right? And I think that's what I'm thriving on right now, because we've already seen now at this point that they are pretty powerful. They're not great at controlling their power, but they have a lot of it. Like one of their professors and even students have kind of come up and like used them as an energy source that should drain their power. But because they have so much of it, it isn't. Not as much as it would like other students or other people. That's my theory for the moment. Leave your theories about why you think this is working in the comments below. Is it like right book, right time? I don't know. What do you guys think? What is it about this book? What is it about this series that's so damn appealing? All right. See you soon. Okay. So, update on The Awakening. I don't know who the love interest is for one of the girls. And I just realized that just now. I know one of them seems to be into the teacher, which seems to be both a taboo thing and also no one seems to care. The other one, I'm just realizing I have no idea. Like, I think I know, but also they've had enough kind of horny-ish interactions with several of the heirs in general that I'm like, I don't know which one you're into. Like, it hasn't been obvious enough. They did explain the whole elements and zodiac sign and star constellations and how that informs your elemental magic, kind of. I don't fully understand it still, but it doesn't really matter. It was explained. Good enough for me. Also, we are finally getting, there's been like whispers of plot before this, right? Like a lot of it's been just like adventuring around and learning about this world and taking classes and trying to find their order and interacting with all these people, trying to get out of these scrapes, being the scrappy girls we know them to be. But now we've got a little mystery-ish plot happening that's going on. And Cynthia just posted and she said the last part's really stressful. So I have a feeling that that's really going to pick up. I do really love that the authors are having a little bit of fun. They're poking a little bit of fun at themselves, as there's an association that's supposed to be like in support of the princesses, both of our heroines. The acronym is ASS, and they have ASS pins. And I was just like, magnifique. If we're gonna be corny with Faybook, why not? That's on brand. That's great humor. I think I'm just gonna try and read the first 3 books in this vlog. I've just decided this now. Because why not? I am going to try and finish this bad boy today, and I will update you tomorrow morning. See you soon. Hi, ignore the gremlin face. The emotional damage that just kind of got info dumped on us via someone using it for power and drawing the story out of them, a little bit corny. The one story for whichever sister doesn't have blue hair, I want to say Darcy. I told you I can't tell these two apart. That's rough. That is actually terrifying. The one for the blue hair gal, I'm all for a hair color change, but you're putting too much meaning into it. Life gets better. You'll be fine. Cut the blue hair off. You'll regret it later. On that note, I have to put some biscuits in the oven. Now that the biscuits are in the oven, and defend myself about how I can't tell these girls apart. I don't think any of you guys are going to care, but I feel a little bit embarrassed because I definitely think I got their names wrong. Anyways, one of them is Darcy and one of them's Tori. Here's the thing. The differences between them are about as substantial as sugar and spice from RuPaul's Drag Race. What is that piece of hair doing? That is disrespectful. Wavy Lion's mane is out, and so we just have to deal with her and her shenanigans. But that's the depth of their differences. It's completely superficial. It's just, she has blue hair, she has normal hair. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. Still having a good fucking time. All right. Reading the rest of this damn book, because I'm like 90% in at this point. See you soon.
Hi, so we are in my bathroom, not because I'm actually going anywhere, but because it's raining so bad that the lighting in my house is absolutely atrocious. This is the only room in my house that has a halfway decent lighting because I need the bulbs brighter here to do my makeup. That's literally it. That's so dumb. So I finished, oh my God, I just blanked out. I finished the first book in the Zodiac Academy series. So final thoughts, still can't tell the girls apart, and it's going to get harder because now the blue hair is gone. Oh, mild spoilers. Still don't know who the love interests really are, but like all the heirs are kind of horny for the girls, at least a little bit. So in terms of the plot, I could have predicted the last part of the book. Not exactly like the specific details, but who perpetuated the things against the girls. I mean, you could see it coming. I think. I feel like it's obvious. The one thing that I was kind of disappointed about, we've been watching their power build throughout that book, and I was kind of like wanting them to save themselves. Even if it wasn't like a total win, like they weren't like completely victorious and like get vengeance against their enemies or anything like that. I just wanted them to like save themselves and not be saved by somebody else. That was just like a little bit disappointing because it kind of leaves this like feeling of defeat. Also, I'm calling it now. The harpies, whatever the creatures are that are doing the attacks on people, they're not going to be bad. They're going to be a regular ass Fey order. That's what we're probably going to find out. Prediction is that they are an oppressed race. And basically the reason that they're kind of going after things around the girls is because the girl's dad was a literal dictator and they don't want him back in power. That's my prediction. And I hope to God it happens. Because you know what? I want some goddamn predictability right about now. Moving on to book 2. I haven't started it yet. Here's a funny little personal tidbit. So I don't know, do y'all have jury duty internationally? If you're from another country, let me know. But basically in the US, when you turn 18, you can at any point be randomly selected to be in a jury pool. You're only allowed to serve once a year. For whatever reason, I'm just so lucky and so blessed. I get called literally every other year. Like none of my friends have ever been called. My husband's ever been called. Never, not even once. I have been called 5 goddamn times since I moved to Seattle. 5. What's going on with your random number generator over there? Also, because of my master's degree, they never want me on the juries. Like, never. I always get ruled out during voir dire. I don't know why they keep calling me. Because I never get selected when I go. They don't want me on there. So I just think it's funny. I'm like, cool, can't wait to go like get called to the courthouse and get ruled out again. That's just a random little funny tidbit. I have once again been summoned for jury duty. All right, I am going to go start the next book. I'm going to go read that and enjoy the rest of my evening. See you soon.
Why, hello there. Should we address the elephant in the room? Yes, I got my hair done. Hooray, she's back to being blonde. That's not really the point. So I was going to say I took a couple days off from this vlog. I didn't intentionally do it. I just did that thing where I was like, I'm going to be a piece of shit for a little bit. And then I was like, I'm not going to hold myself accountable for anything. No working out, no eating right. And then 2 days in, I was like, oh, I feel like garbage. I wonder what caused this. Time to get back on track. So that's what we're doing today. So I started reading Ruthless Fae. And I don't even have a big update for you other than we are getting an heir's perspective straight off the bat. Caleb, vampire boy? So maybe that's the other love interest. I also still have my eye on Seth, even though he is an utter piece of garbage. All right, I am going to go work out and then I'm going to read some more and I'll give you another update hopefully soon. See you in a bit. Hello. So, ignore the hair. It's just doing whatever it wants to right now because it's air drying. I'm getting ready to go to my friend's birthday party. So, I was going to just update you quickly because I'm now 50% into Ruthless Fae, and hopefully you can't hear the rugby game my husband has on right now. What to say? Some of the charm is starting to wear off. I knew it would happen. I just didn't think it would be so soon. One thing that I think is kind of interesting is that I was not putting together like the timeline on the first book is only a couple of weeks. We're not even like a good chunk of the way into the school year yet. This feels like an extension of the previous book. We're still learning a shit ton about the world. It is nice that we're getting more from the heirs' perspective because they know a lot more about what's going on because our girls have so much to learn. It's like everywhere they go, they're like, oh my god, you don't know that. Did the All Blacks score? I can't tell. I really want to get back to that game. I am a little fed up with some of the corny elements. Ferraris. Are you serious? That is so stupid. I can't handle it. It's so dumb. I saw that and I was like, I want to pull my eyes out. I wish I had never seen that. And then the other thing, I can't get over these Pegasus things. I'm sorry. Every other order is some fearsome creature. We've got like griffins and dragons and Medusas. Also, side note, I accidentally said harpies last time in the last clip. Is like the oppressed race. Those are nymphs. So I fucked that up. Harpies are fine. But anyways, not the point. They're, it's like sirens, it's cool monster stuff. And then we have Pegasus that literally just like fly in the clouds and they're pastel colored and they shart rainbows and glitter. They are the Hufflepuffs of this world. And, Hufflepuffs I feel bad for because it's like, it's not that they're not cool. They just got a shit name. But the Pegasus, I'm like, oh no. You're just actually a dumb order. It's kind of funny. Sorry. I shouldn't laugh at this because this is a very traumatic moment. There is someone in the book that finds out they are the Pegasus order. It's like not a main character. It's a side character. It's a side of a side character. They're not even important. But they find out they're of the Pegasus order and their family's pissed because they're like, we are from a pure bloodline that's always been da-da-da-da-da order. And they're like, oh no, the shame. And they're like shart and glitter everywhere. Like, it's a little hard to take it serious. It's a little hard to be like, oh no. Oh, shoot. Yeah, right now, I feel weird about the heirs because all of them, except for maybe one, I think are just horny AF for the girls, but also constantly kind of like dicking them around, right? Like they'll be nice 1 second, then assholes the next. And the girls get lulled so quickly into trusting them for a hot second. I'm like, ladies, let's sit down. Just because you start feeling a little bit horny does not mean that you trust the men folk. That's just a rule of thumb for everyone. Also, what is with all the teachers just being so horny for all this? Why is everyone in this world so horny? I mean, I guess it is kind of college. College is a horny time, but the teachers, the professors are real horny for the students, even though they can't them. That's like a big no-no rule. Yet we know it's gonna get broken. I'm still enjoying it on the whole. So here's my plan. Depending on how I'm feeling, I'm either gonna update you at the 75 or the 100% mark. Girl, what you talking about? Once you're fully done, once I'm fully done. Oh my God, what is going on with me today? I need to have more coffee. It's too late in the day to be having coffee, but I'm doing it anyway. This is such a bad plan. If there's like a lot to update you on, maybe I'll pop in at the 75% mark, but otherwise I will let you know what I'm thinking after I have wrapped this bad boy up. And then we'll move on to the last one that I'm going to include in this vlog. See you soon. Hi there. So it's Tuesday, and before I tell you why it took me so long to update you, let's talk about the good stuff, which is that I finished Ruthless Fae. So the second half of this book, so much better. Still incredibly repetitive and so much like the first book that I'm like, why isn't this just one book? It feels so much the same because it's just like the girls going to classes, learning a little bit of stuff, getting a little bit of handle on their powers, having run-ins with the heirs, and then them getting very unsatisfying revenge. They're pulling pranks. Like the boys are humiliating them and being violent, and the girls are like, tee-hee, what if I gave them head lice? One of these pranks is not like the other, right? And there's so much bark. That's the other thing. The girls have just barely gotten a whisper of control on their power, and they know that they're powerful. However, they can't harness it, so then they talk real big and real snarky, but they have nothing to back it up. They're like little chihuahuas. I'm like, can you keep your mouths shut and your head down and then surprise them with the amount of control that you've got and the amount of power that you've got later? Oh my God, they make so many dumb decisions, like drinking at that ball where all of their political enemies are. Keep your wits about you, ladies. Come on. Good news though, we did finally get some spice, not just some horny bumping and rubbing. However, I'm not convinced those two are endgame. I don't know where that's headed, because all the heirs, so horny. Is this a white choose? Things I never thought to ask myself. I actually don't know. But I feel like right at the end, right at the very end, we finally got them like really leveling up their powers in a way that actually feels like meaningful and significant. It's like, oh, maybe they really are more powerful. Maybe they actually are starting to get a handle on their skills a little bit. And I think this is setting up hopefully a bigger plot for next time, because I need this to pick up a little bit. Like, I'm having fun. I do. Honestly, there's so much change going on in my life. I don't mind it being super repetitive, but if I read this at another time, I'm sure this would drive me bonkers. It's not driving me bonkers because the reason I haven't seen you is because I was just going through a complete mental spiral about how nothing in my life is remaining the same. There are no constants and my life is completely out of control. Basically, there's a lot going on at work. We're going through a big reorg. That's a lot to deal with. We got the political hellscape that is now just the US. So that's also a factor. And then this weekend, two of my friends revealed some kind of big news that just fundamentally changes how they are a part of my life. Like, one of them will probably no longer live in the same state as me, which is just devastating because these are like friends that are my family. I spend the holidays with them. If I get sick, they come and bring me soup. Like, we do everything together. Like, one of them it's exciting, one of them it's devastating, but just announcing these big changes. It's just like so sad because I was like, is nothing remaining the same? Like, I'm having a little bit of a hard time processing it. Basically, for the past day and a half, I've just been like mentally processing everything that's going on, because I'm just like realizing that like this Thanksgiving is probably the last time that I will spend with all of them, and it's so sad to say because it's next week. It's fine. It's fine. I'm just having a hard time processing all the change because it's a lot all at once. It's so much all at once. Cooler news. Something really fun happened this weekend, and it was a complete accident. So the last clip that you saw me in, I was going to my friend's birthday party, and because we're all old and a lot of her friends have kids, we kind of ended on the earlier side. So on the way home, my husband was like, hey, we should go to that bar because we don't really get to it that often. It's kind of out of the way. It's a really calm spot. We're like, let's just decompress, have a nightcap, and then we'll head home. So we get there, and it's hella busy. We're like, what is going on? Someone comes running up to us. Hey, this is an author signing event. And so my husband's like, she loves books. So we go over there, or rather he went over there because I'm awkward, figured everything out for me. I thought it was a memoir because it's called Diary of Felicia Grace Porter. And I was like, that sounds like a memoir. And I was kind of like, well, it's not really my thing, but support a local author. She's like literally in my neighborhood. No, this is a spicy romance. I was like, what are the chances that I would stumble into this signing? I think this is her debut novel. It's planned to be a series. It's like maybe 200 pages. Melissa Cornish Armstrong, just so sweet. I was like, oh yeah, like I review books on YouTube and on Instagram and stuff like that. And she was like, here's my phone number. You should text me when you're done. So this is on KU if anyone wants to read along with me. I'm probably going to read this before the end of the year because I'm like so excited that I got to like meet the author. What in the happenstance? I just thought that was so cool. A little bit of a wild weekend for me, but we are back on track and hopefully I can focus. I'm going to try and finish this third book in record time for you. Let's see how quickly I can read it. I will be back with an update at the 50% mark. See you soon. Hello. So it's the next day. I was going to try and update you last night, but we had a fun little storm come through and the winds were so bad that my lights were flickering all night. But I'm halfway through The Reckoning. I'm noticing a very interesting pattern. It's not that interesting. I've noticed a pattern with these books. They start off really heavy on the bullying. There's usually something that instigates it being even more intense towards the beginning of the book. And then it sort of like lets up. And then at the end, it re-intensifies with like some big moment. When that started happening again, I was like, good golly, we've already been doing this. It's already been as intense as I thought it could get. And then they introduce another element where they're like, actually, it's gonna get so much worse. At first, I was like, dang it, we just got what I thought was like a meaningful grasp on their power. And now it's clear that they don't have any handle on it whatsoever. But slowly we're starting to see them actually be able to resist some of the coercion which has been going on, which is like basically anyone can pop inside someone's mind and be like, you should do that. So if you don't have your mental walls up, we're starting to see them be able to have those mental walls. I feel like though in the
first book, we kind of lost track of like two different things, which is that we still don't have an order form. Like it's kind of like maybe we've got a little bit of a hint after what happened in book 2 of what they might be, but still it's like completely out of reach. So it's sort of this thing that's just like there, but kind of gets forgotten about, which I just think that would be like a huge deal if you were like actually in this world and you don't have an order. How do you have like a lot of friends? Because so many of them are like really into like purity of bloodlines and stuff like that, and only associating with people from their own order. I just find it interesting that they're just like, they just seem to, not that they don't have interest in it, but it just doesn't seem to be a priority. Now, granted, they did find friends, so maybe that's why they don't feel the pressure or need for that kind of like camaraderie, but I'm just kind of like surprised that they aren't like trying to figure it out a little bit more than they are. I completely forgot about is it the Reckoning? This big test that they have to go through during their first year. How did I lose track of this? Like they completely stopped talking about it. The teachers don't teach to like what you're going to be tested on or start prepping the students at all. They just sort of like announce at the beginning of this book that they're like, hey, your trials are coming up. I was just like, oh my gosh, you would think that if this is the thing that proves whether you get to stay at this academy or not, that they would be like really trying to help the students. Of course, you know, it is a ruthless world out there, so maybe they're just thinking that they need to figure it out on their own. Okay, but not only are the teachers not, okay, well, hi, it's Freeze Frame Me, by the way. So not only are the teachers not really teaching basics that you might need for this test, nobody's practicing either. Like nobody's trying to do anything to prepare for these trials. And you would think they would, because this determines whether or not they have a place at Zodiac Academy. Like it's just, it feels like such a blasé approach, and it kind of feels like there's no stakes to it. I don't know. And does that make any sense? Maybe not. Okay. Anyways, back to what I was saying. You know what is getting good? What's getting real juicy is the relationships. Mild spoilers. Both the girls have at least 2 boys after them. Blue hair has Seth, who is the werewolf, and Orion, one of the teachers. Regular hair that likes to steal the bikes. She has Darius, who is the dragon, and Caleb, who is the vampire after her. It's getting real juicy because it's a lot of sneaking around, and the girls, for obvious reasons, do not want to commit to any of these men. Obviously, there's rules with the teacher, but also with the heirs, they're like, we don't trust you as far as I can throw you, but also would like to bump and rub uglies. Because they've got 2 kind of on the hook, they're sneaking around all the time. Honestly, this might be the best part. I'm loving that. Also, because they're around these boys so much more and they're having more like personal contact with them and meeting their families, they're getting little bits of dirt on each of them. The boys care so much. All of their power comes from their image. They have to maintain this facade, right? And the girls like don't care about these pieces of information. It's not that impactful to them because they're not in these political circles. They don't care about this stuff. It's more or less meaningless, but they are getting dirt. So they got over the boys. I can't wait for this to like come around where they get to use this. But at the part that I left off, it sounds like the trials are going to start. So I have a feeling the second half of this book will probably feel a lot different, but I don't know. Maybe the trials are really spaced out because honestly, the length of time per book is only like a handful of weeks. So time moves very slow. The pacing technically of the plot is extremely slow, even though there's constantly like fun chaos happening because the girls are messy. They're messy ladies. That's my update for you. I'm going to try and finish this today. So hopefully I can get this wrapped up and get this edited and up for you this week. Let's hope. Can she do it? And I will chat with you soon. Well, hello. Guess who's finished the 3rd book now? This gal. That's right. I managed to pull it off, friends. So the second half of The Reckoning. The trials were interesting and kind of fun, but I don't feel like they actually have that much impact on the overall plot. In fact, I feel like the nymphs, which are probably going to be the overarching plot amongst the books, kind of get teased only like one time each book and then kind of gets ditched after that. So it is, I feel like we're not really making progress with this, but like once again, we are dealing with weeks per book. The second half, like with the boys, I felt like it was just like a whole bunch of getting jerked around. Like the boys were hot and cold every other second, and they're starting to get territorial because, you know, there's at least 2 after each of the girls. There was a lot of dick measuring contests that I didn't really care for. But one thing that I thought was interesting that I failed to mention earlier is the heirs. There's just like a lot of casual queerness with boys. So I'm really
interested in where that's gonna go, because I'm like, you can't just drop that little tidbit and not have that go somewhere, right? But then again, we had some like spicy little moments towards the end here, and it ended up just being a whole host of blue balls, so that wasn't cool. Once again, we have a ton of threats of, no, the bullying's gonna get real, no, we're gonna force you out of Valaria? Nope, Solaria. Come on, you've been saying that for 3 books now. It's starting to lose its meaning. I think honestly, all three of these first books, does that make sense? No, I have no idea. All 3 books that I've read so far, there we go, that's better, feel like they could have been a single book. I just feel like there's a lot of room for this to have been tightened up, because again, so much repetition. Overall, how I would probably rate every single one of these books is 4 stars. Maybe the second book would be a 3.5. I'm having fun reading these books. Objectively, I think they're probably not that good, right? Like, we've got side characters that are horrifically flat. There is no dimensionality to any of them, although I still enjoy them sometimes because some of them are funny. Lots of repetition, lots of formulaic pieces, lots of high stakes that actually has no stakes whatsoever. There's so many things that get like dropped and ignored for long periods of time only to be picked up at random again. And yet, subjectively, so addicting because it's mostly just a bunch of people who are really horny with powers running around figuring out what they can do, and then also just like sneaking and creeping with a bunch of guys. Like, I'm sorry, that's a good time. I don't think I'll continue on with this series immediately, but when I need a comfort read or I just need something that feels a little bit just like turn the brain off, I'm definitely gonna pick up more of these. I don't know if I'll end up finishing this whole series. 9 books is a lot to commit to. I don't know if I can do that. That is where I'm going to leave you. So, sorry that we're ending in such a weird way and started in a weird way, so I guess we're keeping on theme, keeping on brand, but this was the video I never expected to make and was not on my bingo card for this year. Comment below, let me know if you've read the series. What do you think? I feel like this is kind of polarizing. Like, there's a lot of people that absolutely adore this series, and then there's a lot of people that are like, boo, book talk is awful and recommends horrible books. So I'm curious which side of the camp you fall on, or if you haven't read them, are you planning to pick them up? I'm very curious. And don't forget to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want more content from me, and I can't wait to see you on my next video. Bye-bye!